Can I sit where you're sitting?
Why?
So I'm an influencer and
Cameras not allowed. We're out of fluories. We're out. We are out of fluories. They don't get the free promotion. Nobody go to that place. Nobody go to the shitty ass place.
Main character syndrome is a term we have all come across. It is not just a random social media trend, but a mindset that people actually live by. The zero civic sense meme, yeah, that's a byproduct of it. In general, it refers to somebody who confidently lives as the protagonist of their own life. Sounds nice and simple, right? Because we're all, anyways, the main characters of our own lives. In its most sunshine and roses form, main character energy is all about looking out of a car's window on a rainy day and listening to sad music, curating an aesthetic wardrobe, studying with candles and music, and just noticing the small details of everyday life.
Veo en tus ojos mi vida pasar.
This actually grounds a person because they simply romanticize their life, and there's a lot of mindfulness and gratitude involved. But as always, there's this original version which is healthy and making sense, and then there's what we did to it. Now, the main character energy is circling around hyper individualism, narcissism, and delusion because, well, we took something healthy and ran it straight into a personality disorder. In this video, we're going to explore and witness this phenomenon firsthand. We've all grown up in the era of movies and cinema. Student of the Year Shania was the OG main character for a lot of us growing up. She was the perfect main character because, well, the girls got everything. She had two guys fighting over her, a trusted sidekick, and an orb who was, of course, attention seeking, boyfriend stealing brat. Its emotional and nostalgic currency made it not just a movie, but a brand. Yet, it somehow managed to lay the foundation for a lot of future main character syndrome cases.
तुम भी सॉरी तान्या, क्योंकि हाथ में पॉम पॉम लेके लड़कों के लिए चिल्लाना मेरा स्टाइल नहीं है। वो मेरे लिए चिल्लाए, सीटी बजाए, that's more my thing.
Because for a lot of impressionable young minds, its swoon-worthy campus life and teenage love became not only achievable but realistic. Because there weren't fantasy worlds with dragons and magic. There were real lives, real schools, real people. But just better, more dramatic, more desirable, and more centered. Each main character had a sidekick, and of course, it reimagined side characters. They only existed in relation to the main character, to the point that I didn't even remember Tanya's name and only thought of her as the one who was jealous from Shania. So maybe cinema tried to give us the ideal main character and who to be, along with the ideal side character and who not to be. But here's the thing. Back then, there was still a gap between you and these characters. Fame was distant and showbiz was more exclusive. Now, social media has become the bridge between you and that gap. Or so you may think. Because in this era of social media, you don't step into Shania Hood, you just perform it. Things are about to get raw here. Remember how we talked about a healthy main character syndrome, which is all about romanticizing your life and living it more mindfully? But we, of course, came up with a different version. Making others' problems about ourselves, relating each action to our own traumas, thinking every other guy is into you, and the list goes on. Main character energy is now just performative. You don't just simply create an aesthetic bedtime routine for yourself as a form of self care, you also post each step online. You don't just simply wear a cute dress to go out for a walk because you're feeling yourself. You also make a public reaction reel out of it. You see the problem here? Being the main character of our own life is no longer enough. We have to be the main character of others' lives as well. This out of touch behavior is exactly what I'm talking about. It is a classic example of consent violation, narrative forming, and narcissism. The alleged main characters are pushing this narrative where people around them or random strangers are giving them unusual amounts of attention, or to be more real, they are just seeking attention. Now, sure, some people are giving them certain reactions, but if you are one of the thousands of people who've liked these reels, did you ever stop and just think about the fact that maybe it might be because they're walking with a literal cameraman behind them, or that they're wearing something inappropriate for the casual setting of the place? Or that some people just have expressive faces and sometimes they blank out while looking here and there? Yeah, just think about it. Now, because we all have a little bit of a main character in us, let me catch your attention by telling you how this syndrome will affect you whether you have it or not. Imagine this. You randomly decide to go to the stationery near your house to buy some brushes and a canvas because, well, free will. And according to you, there's no point in changing out of your pajamas. But then somebody like these street runway models decide to show up and record your reaction to them. And as it just so happens to be, you were smiling at the time. Now, you know that you were just giddy at the thought of being the next Leonardo da Vinci, but of course, the video decides to capture your smile and show it in a whole different narrative. Do you see the problem? Your emotions and presence were captured without your consent, and within that video, you stopped existing as a person. You became a mere prop for that random influencer's reel, and your emotions were strategically exploited. Welcome to the life of a side character. The core issue here is that you can't just casually exist in public anymore and also expect to have some control over how you present yourself online. Because you never know who might decide to show up and then use your presence as a prop. This is what we call the surveillance culture, but in real life settings. Now, I'm not against public filming in general, it's cheaper than a studio, and sometimes your content genuinely requires it. But the problem arises when you intentionally focus on people and cast them as side characters in your story without any consent. What if I tell you there was also a huge ethical concern hidden in these reels, which can be considered borderline criminal? Filming minors. In an attempt to fill a void in their lives, these street runway models even cast children as side characters in their 30-second movie. This mindset and normalizing such behaviors works directly towards building a more files friendly society for all of us. is textbook main character syndrome. This woman is not only assigning roles to people in the literal series of her life, she is also deciding their tenure. To understand this better, we must look at it from three different angles. First, narrative forming. It is a compulsive need to frame moments in your life as movie scenes to contentify your life for an imaginary audience. For these people, real life relationships just don't cut it anymore. They need to have a meet cute with a random stranger at a bookstore. Their arch nemesis must confront them. And when all of these things do not happen, they either create chaos or fantasize about them. She is building your character to fit her storyline. And of course, what better way to validate this than to post it? Second, delusion of grandeur. It is all about creating an alternate reality where you are at the center and everybody else exists to either validate or threaten that position. And when they do none of them and simply exist in the relationship like normal humans sometimes do, you cut them off. Because that is what makes you feel in line with the higher position that you've given yourself and essentially just makes you feel more powerful. And the whole boss girl or confident vibe that she has tried to create here is just to feed others' insecurities. Confidence is grounded. It does not need to be validated by a reel of you eating food. And it's not just her. This is delusional to another level. Miss Ma'am believes that she is automatically at a higher position of power because a random guy likes her who is apparently seeing somebody else. And she has, of course, used the word main character to describe herself. But doesn't this just mean that she is competing with that other girl? And who knows if the guy in question is even hitting on you or you have dreamed that up? So, what did we learn from this? That delusion of grandeur is deeply rooted in insecurities. Because even this motivational post about she could never be me is just insecurity wrapped up in pseudo confidence. And girl, why would anyone want to be you? I mean, I get the concept of being inspired, but to want somebody to try and imitate your whole existence is just stop trying to outsource your confidence for crying out loud. Third, lack of empathy. This is probably the most dangerous aspect out of the three. You stop treating human relationships as relationships. You conveniently take away the other person's agency and diminish their contributions. They don't get any say in a decision that directly affects them. This shows it even better. The main characters, whose, by the way, walks while crossing the street is enough content for us to consume, are simply using the age contrast of the old lady as a prop. You don't see her as an actual person in these reels. She's just there to make the main characters shine better. This is what lack of empathy does. It quietly reduces every person around you into a function. What role do you play in my life? Are you a fan, a prop, a narrative, or a contrast?
If he asks, "Who are we?" you tell him, "I'm a star, and you are one of my fans."
So, when a person embodies this mindset, we don't just see main character syndrome, we see a very specific kind of loneliness, which from the outside looks like confidence. Now, I could go on and on about this topic because there are just so many more layers to it that we've not touched upon yet. So yeah, I am definitely planning a part 2 of this video. Something that I'm personally looking forward to talking about in the part 2 is to zero in on the consumers and why we as an audience continue to blow up such content. So if you're interested in a part 2, then of course you must stay tuned. I am now going to conclude this video by introducing you guys to a word, Sonder. It is the realization that every person you come across on the street has a life as complex, vivid, layered, and full as your own. They have their own anxieties, their own 3 a.m. thoughts, their own inside jokes, and a whole entire world that exists with or without you in it. Sit with this thought and see where it leads you. Oh, and if you have main character syndrome and you have decided to stay till the end of this video, then trust me, that's almost equivalent to you touching some grass finally. So maybe you're doing something right.